I'm like, how in the hell he is not covering Randy Moss? Because the routes that he ran, bro, it's just like you couldn't cover that. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I mean, I'm not saying he ran no bad routes, but he was just
Say it.
he
Say
was
it. You can say it.
he was fast. He was fast, bro. He was fast, but he wouldn't give you that. He wouldn't give you that. He was more like the old traditional route runner, but he got his ass open.
All right, welcome to another show, BCP Podcast. Preston Jackson, your host. And if you are Gator Nation or state of Alabama, I got a good one for you. I got a two-time Alabama Class 6A state champ, parade All-American, first team All-SEC selection. I got an honorable mention All-American. Currently tied, has the single season, currently is tied for the Florida Gators single season reception record, and the 75th overall pick in 2006 in the NFL draft to New England Patriots. I want everybody to welcome Mr. Chad Jackson. Chad, welcome to the show, baby.
I appreciate you having me on, man. I appreciate that love, fam.
Hey, and if you see that the names are similar, because listen, Hart, we are blood cousins, because black folks, what we like to do, we claim folks as cousins all the time. It's just a term endearment with people who are close family, but this is legitimately my first cousin, a few years behind me.
Yes.
And a lot of pride in that Jackson name. And I'm glad he graced us with his time to tap into the show.
I'm not a busy man for family, man. So, like I said, once again, I appreciate you having me on, bro. It's been a long time. Like I said, I think you I'd be honest with you, I think you're the only really like cousin that I, continue like constantly talk to, because it's a lot of us, it's a lot of us in the Jackson family, bro. But like I said, man, I appreciate you having me on, man, showing you boys some love, man.
Man, I remember I'm in college playing ball, and I'm early in college days, and my dad started calling me like, yo, Chad kind of getting off a little bit in high school. I said, for real? He said, yeah, he doing his thing. So years start going by, and dad is sending me, your dad is sending my dad newspaper clippings. So my dad is forwarding me your newspaper clippings. So I'm hanging your clippings up in my dorm room.
Yeah.
So now obviously, folks coming in the dorm like, that's little cuz, blah, blah, blah. We always watch the game. So now you start playing like your freshman year. You had a few receptions freshman year. I mean, y'all always played early. We usually play those later games. So every time I get to catch you, I sit in our little lobby in the little space in our dorm room and be watching with my teammates.
Okay.
Just waiting to see if 8 get a rock. So this is when I fast forward a little bit. This is when you were at Florida, but let me go back to Hoover days.
Okay.
So dad is sending me clips of your high school stuff, and you start popping, right? So now I think I'm probably my sophomore, junior year at Notre Dame, and you start popping off in a big way in Alabama over at Hoover. So just jump on that real quick. How were those Hoover days, and when did you know, like, yo, I'm that dude, man? When did that start happening?
So a crazy story, man. When people meet me, they recognize who I am. It's not a big thing anyway. But in Alabama, people see me, they always ask me, say, man, when did you start playing football? And I tell them, I'm like, they see me in high school, and I played a little ball in middle school, but I really didn't start playing like football till middle school. And you know how other players, they play Pee Wee League, Pop Warner ball, and my dad, he wouldn't let me play, So, and football wasn't like my first sport, I played basketball, ran track, I did everything. But when I think it was maybe my 8th grade year in middle school, I was playing basketball, football, track, and then one day, coach said, "Hey, we just want you to come out there and just be an athlete." They didn't put me in any position or anything like that. Just said, just go out there and be an athlete. So I was playing running back, I was playing receiver, I was playing DB, everything, man. And then I just used my athletic ability. when I got to high school, freshman year of high school, I kind of got off a little bit. I was playing running back actually. Not a lot of people know that. Instead of playing receiver, I was playing running back.
Right.
And then I was just running toss sweeps, just beating everybody to it. And then, no disrespect to Alabama, but shit, we was playing a whole bunch of white boys, man. I'm running up and down the field. I'm running around the white boys like crazy, man. So coach saw that. And then when I knew is when I think maybe at the end of my games in my freshman year, I was playing running back still. And Coach Probst, man, never forget it, one of the best coaches in Alabama football, man. He said at the end of the year, man, we're gonna bring you up. Next season we're gonna bring you up on varsity. But before, like I said, a couple of games at the end of my freshman year, they moved me up to the varsity, and I was just scoring touchdowns after touchdowns after touchdowns. That's when I kind of knew, this might be a little calling for me because it wasn't too many players, as a freshman playing on varsity. I don't know if you remember a guy named Tim Castile.
Yeah. Okay.
Everybody knew who he was. I mean, this dude was in middle school, playing varsity, like 8th grade.
Right.
Where he playing varsity. I'm like, man, really? And then when I saw him, I was like, okay, yeah. He need to be on varsity. He don't need to be on no type of freshman team or nothing. But like I said, once they moved me up to varsity as a freshman, that's when I kind of knew, young man, you might have a call. You might be able to do something.
So to be fair, I didn't know about Hoover High School till you got there. All right. But educate the listeners on how big Hoover High School is. Like that is the premier school in Alabama, correct?
Not anymore. But when I was there, Hoover was the big deal, man. It's so many high schools now in Alabama that's coming up. Hewitt Trustville, Oak Mountain, Homewood, Mount Brook, schools that you never think of. It's like, really? They playing football out there? And
right.
And I think the culture has changed so much nowadays, man. You never know who's gonna win next the championship each season. But when I played, Hoover was a big deal. Hoover was a team to beat. Everybody wanted Hoover. Everybody wanted a piece of Hoover. Yep. Everybody wanted to beat Hoover. So And Alabama, man, nobody knew what football was, until kind of, I think that 2000 team when, we put Hoover on the map, man. It was a lot of players that contributed to that year. But, Hoover, everybody wanted a piece of Hoover.
It's funny that our stories are kind of aligned like that because my high school was a team to beat. And now we're kind of an average, sometimes below average program. And all the schools around us that we used to play for homecoming, we used to dog walk them.
Yeah.
They're the better teams in the area now.
Yeah.
It's just so many new high schools around and the talent pools just spread in all different directions.
Yeah.
And I guess for lack of a better term, there's more parity, but it don't feel like a good thing because my high school is down. You know what I mean? And back in the day, bro, we was an easy 10 win team. We was running up scoring everybody.
Like I said, man, I think the culture just changed so much with these schools, man, and everybody, and now the coaches now they can recruit like college recruit.
Mm-hmm.
They can go to other states and get other kids to transfer from other states and come to play for their school or I know whatever, man. And the game is so crazy right now. It's just if you're not the best, if you're not trying to compete to be the best, then you're gonna fall off. And I feel like Hoover, we were up for a long, long time, man. Then everybody started kind of see the DNA that we were doing, and they said, okay, we got to kind of translate, kind of do what they're doing. Because I didn't move to Hoover to like I said, middle school.
Right.
And I was living in the everybody know area, West End, Inslee, and I was supposed to play for that school, but like I said, I ended up moving to Hoover and playing for Hoover. So like I said, the culture has changed so much with the kids nowadays and the parents and the access to what all the coaches can do now, man. It's just all the schools are just now, okay, we got to up our game and, we're going to go out there and compete with these boys.
Now, you said the word recruiting. Go back to still staying Hoover.
Okay.
How was your recruiting? How crazy was the recruiting for you at that time?
It was all
like that junior year, that junior started the senior year. How crazy was it?
So all that stuff was, like I said, it was new to me, man. I actually started getting letters from schools my sophomore year. And my mom, she got this box. She still got this box to this day with all my recruiting letters, man. I maybe got like 5 or 6 boxes with recruiting letters in it. But like I said, I started getting letters in my sophomore year. And then my junior year, that's when I started getting like the big schools, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Florida State. I got a few from Miami. You know, a lot of SEC schools. But like I said, man, Michigan. So I was people started, I started making a name for myself. People started to recognize who I was coming out of high school. When my senior year, I kind of boarded down to the 4 schools, man, as Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Auburn. I kind of knew that I didn't want to go to Alabama or Auburn. And so it was going to be between Georgia and Florida. And when I went on that recruiting trip, man, I just had a blast. I had a good time on the Georgia recruiting trip as well, but that Florida recruiting trip, man, it was just a whole different ball game. Just the way they laid it out for me. I enjoyed every moment of it. Every moment of it.
Now, Alabama and Auburn, was that because it was in state? You didn't want to stay in state? You want to get out?
So I wanted to do something different, man. And you live in one state. What's it? You're in Florida, so everybody, expects you to go to Miami, a Florida school, Florida State school, USF, something like that. And I wanted to do something different. I wanted to go out of state because I didn't want to stay at home. I wanted to do something different, and it was just made in people's brain that you had. Hey, it was either Auburn or it was going to be either Alabama. And I said, I just didn't want to do it. And at that time, Auburn and Alabama, they weren't really that good. They were going through some culture transitions. And, they weren't the Alabama that they are today.
Right.
So like I said, man, it was going to be between Georgia and Florida. And I decided to go to Florida.
But the state of Alabama itself have had some dudes. Like I was just doing research before the show. And I'm just looking at some of the names. Like, obviously, everybody's going to know Julio Jones and Bo Jackson are from Bama, and more recently, Jameis Winston. But, another one of my homeboys and teammates, Justin Tuck, and then Bart Starr, DeMarcus Ware, all those guys are from the state of Alabama. And there were a list of about 20 names I knew when I was doing the research. Does the state of Alabama not get enough credit for the talent that they produce as college and NFL players?
What T.O. was when he from Alabama, too?
T.O. might have been, and maybe Shannon Sharp. No, Shannon from Alabama or South Carolina.
I think South Carolina. I'm not I'm not sure on that, but I think I heard somewhere a while back about T.O. But anyway, I think when it comes to football, I think a lot of football schools get looked at down in the South. You always see Florida on there. Florida's always bringing out talent. Georgia always bringing out talent.
T.O. is from Bama. T.O. is from Bama.
T.O. is from Bama. Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. In the other schools in the South, man, South Carolina, Tennessee, they're bringing out talent as well. So I don't think we are as big as we used to be. Like I said, when I was playing, a lot of players that were coming out of Alabama. Like I said, I don't think we were big as we used to be, man. But I think people still, recognize us as a football state.
Okay. Now you get to Florida.
A
whole new ball game now. It seems like it's a lot of distraction in Florida, man. It's a lot of distraction.
Woo, boy.
You come across that state line.
Yeah.
You get to them oak trees and some of them palm trees. Now you North Florida, all right. It's still fair to say because a lot of South Florida goes up to Gainesville.
Yeah.
Tell me about the culture change stepping on campus from Alabama to now in Florida at one of the largest universities in the nation in the state of Florida.
Man, let me tell you, man, my head was spinning all over. Spinning when I tell you spinning, man. Because I had never, as a kid, you go to Florida, you've been in like Disney World and, Universal Studios and shit like that, but you ain't never really been to like Florida and actually like live there. And as a young 17, 18-year-old kid, when I first got there, I'm just like, man, what am I doing? What am I doing here? You know what I'm saying? I stood out like a sore thumb, bro. It was crazy. It was so crazy.
Right.
And then And then the women, you just was, whew, them Latina women, bro. Man,
Florida produced some good ones, baby.
man, hey, they produced some good ones, bro. And I fell in love with them. I'll never forget her name. And that name was Alexandra Sabota. God, she was
Shout
gorgeous,
out.
bro. Shout
Shout
out
out
to
to
Alexandra.
Alexandra.
Yeah. If you listen to baby, hey, I hope you're doing good. Yeah. But like I said,
Yeah.
when I stepped on campus, man, it was just the palm trees, man, the buildings, just the atmosphere, just the whole culture, just blacks, whites, all type of races, man. And it was just, it was overwhelming to me at first. When I first got to Florida, I think maybe I was there. I got there summer 2003 of May. All the players had to do summer school.
Okay.
And I think maybe there from May till maybe September, August sometime, I was just like, you know what? I don't really, I want to come home. I guess I got homesick. I guess I really got homesick, but I adjusted and I adjusted well. So, but at first, man, I was just like, I don't know if this is gonna be for me.
Right.
I was contemplating. I had second thoughts. Like maybe I should have went to Georgia. Maybe I should have stayed home. But after a while, man, I was just a new kid on the block. It was hard for me to adjust, and I ended up adjusting though.
I think a lot of freshmen go through the same. I damn sure did, man. I came home 3 times in the first semester.
Yeah, my first semester.
Because because I redshirted my first semester, and I traveled to all games but one. But we had a fall break up there. We had a fall break, and then we had Christmas break, and I came home for the game that I did not travel to.
Yeah.
So I came home. I was homesick. I adjusted well, but I think it's just something the freshmen go through. And then the culture change going to Notre Dame was crazy.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was a lot of snow. When I ain't talking about the weather. All right. So
yeah.
it was
Yeah.
I'm like, why am I up here, man?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a lot of freshmen go through it. So you go in with Zook, and that first year y'all have an 8-5 season. Not bad, right? Not bad, but you don't come to Florida to go 8-5. So what was the feeling after that season, and how did you know that you could contribute more your next season?
So like I said, I got there my freshman year, and my freshman year I didn't really play that much. I didn't play. I didn't start really playing to maybe 3 or 4 games left in the end of the season. I had a couple of touchdowns, man. I had a couple of receptions. I went, like I said, I didn't really play that much. They had juniors and seniors in front of me, kind of doing their thing and trying to get off and trying to make their way to the league and everything. So
who was there? Who was there that year, your freshman year?
Guy named Kelvin Kite, Carlos Perez, OJ Small, and there was one. I think it was one more though, but those were the kind of the 3 top. They were starting everything when I got there. DB was there, Dallas Baker. He was there, but I think he was like a red shirt sophomore when I got there. But I didn't kind of really know that I was going to do my thing until they end up leaving, and then that summer workouts, the off season workouts, I kind of started feeling it. The conditioning coach, man, he was on my ass. He was putting pressure on me, and he was telling me I could do something. I could be somebody. I could really do something. And like I said, that's when I kind of knew that off season. I kind of knew I was going to have a pretty good season that year.
I'm looking at the stats, and I just got it. You went from 3 receptions as a freshman, and then in 2004 you jumped up tremendously. 29 receptions for 648 yards. You averaged 22.3 yards per reception and almost 60 yards per game. And then 6 TDs. So that production really skyrocketed, obviously, because you got more opportunity, but then you prepared yourself for that opportunity. Now, how did they utilize you? At what primary position did you play under Zook? Were you X, Z, Y? What did you primarily play? What were you?
I was mostly slot receiver when I was with Zook. Like I said, they had Dallas Baker. He was there, but he was. I don't know if you remember Dallas Baker, but Dallas Baker, he was tall and lanky, and so he was on one side. Who was that other receiver that was on the other side of Dallas, bro? I cannot. Like I said, OJ played the slot too. and I can't think of it for the life of me, the other receiver. But anyway, I was mostly at the slot, man. You know, like I said, I had 22 yards, you know, each reception, man. I was running deep most of the time. But sometimes I have like a little, you know, short pass where I get off. But most of the time I was in that slot, man. And I was, you know, I was taking off. I was coming across the field or running something deep and coming back, double move, something like that. So
7-4 that season. All right. Still kind of not up to Florida standards.
right.
Zook gets the can. All right. Zook gets fired. What was the conversation in the locker room? What was going around, and what was the process?
That last game, I can't remember if he got fired after the Florida State game or after the Peach Bowl. But it was a sour taste in our mouths because I don't think he coached the Peach Bowl, but that Peach Bowl when we played in Miami, man, we got ran through. And that culture just kind of changed, man. We had a lot of players leave as juniors that year. And like I said, that last game, that Peach Bowl, man, we like I said, it left a real sour taste in our mouth. And when they said, you know, that Urban was going to be there, I didn't really know who Urban was. I didn't really keep up with the culture carousel at that time. But when they were explaining the kind of offense and everything that he ran, I was kind of like, I don't know if that's going to work in the SEC. I don't know how that's going, you know, with everything that's going on and where they move the ball, other teams move the ball. And then I think he was coming from Utah at that time.
Right.
And that you know, they had a whole different type of offense, man. But when he brought that offense there and we started running in spring practice and everything, I was just like, oh, okay.
Did it look good? It looked good in spring? It looked
good, bro. It looked good. It was a crazy story, man. When Urban first got there, we had a photo shoot we had to do. And it actually explained like his offense. It was in a magazine. I can't remember the name of the magazine, but it was me, Andre Caldwell, Dallas Baker, and a guy we called Cap. Man, I'm sorry, Cap, bro. I can't remember this dude's name. But anyway, it had all four of us, and it was showing like our route tree. I was running the route, and you could see it was up from like up top and looking down. And it was one guy running the route, another guy running the route, another guy running the route, another guy running the route, and it was explaining how Urban's offense worked. So it became a big deal, though. It became a big deal. It was a lot of motion, a lot of back and forth motion. So, but I like I said, I ended up eating, man. I ended up doing pretty good too.
Yeah. So you did pretty good to the tune of 88 receptions, which tied the school's single season record for reception this season.
I still got that yards.
Record. You still tied, bro. I did the research. I remember when you hit it because it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And then so I did the research today to see if anybody jumped it. And no, you're still tied with that. I didn't write dude's name down that you tied with, but I think he was like a 70 or 80 cat. I'll look it up. But yeah, still got that record. 900 yards, 75 yards a game, 11 TDs.
Bro, that's crazy. I still got there. I didn't even know that. Ain't nobody broke that record. Nobody.
Nah. Well, think about it. All right. So think about it. Urban's days were probably the best offensive days for Florida as of recent years, right?
Right.
And then obviously Chris Leak don't get the credit he deserved, but Chris Leak was a bad dude.
Chris Leak, I'm sorry.
Speak on it.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. But Chris Leak, a lot of people not Chris Leak because of his size, but that boy there had one of the most prettiest balls you can ever catch from a quarterback. I kid you not. I love Chris Leak to death, man. I hope he's doing well. He had a lot he was going through after football, man. But in college, man, he was the most funniest, corkiest dude you ever met. But when it comes to football, man, hey, Chris, hey, you can throw me that rock, baby. That ball was, whew, when I tell you a ball that can spin Cubs.
Yes, sir.
And get to you, Chris Leak was that dude. But yeah, go ahead.
I guess my point that I was getting to, it hasn't been a Florida coaching error that has had an offense like it did when Urban was there. It haven't had the offensive explosion. And I think that's where a lot of y'all benefited, and obviously where you benefited with Urban coming in and people in the SEC not knowing how to defend it because it was brand new. And then you got off Florida just hasn't had the same type of A, quarterback, and then B, the offense. Obviously, Tebow was that dude, but Tebow wasn't the passer that Chris Leak was. If you think about pure passing quarterbacks, can you name one since Chris Leak?
Probably maybe Trash and Kyle Trask, and what's Buddy that played last year towards ACL of his leg last year. He was pretty decent.
Oh, yeah, he was decent, but he wasn't
He
Leak, though.
wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't. No, I agree. Wasn't nobody kind of really running the offense, like Urban was back in the day. I mean,
Right.
when Mullen was the head coach, when we became the head coach, he didn't really have a quarterback. Like I said, he had like Chris Lee, and I think that's when it really slowed down. Like if you don't have a quarterback, man, I think everybody knows if you don't really have a quarterback that can really run that offense, and nowadays, man, they're looking for dual threat quarterbacks who can throw it and who can run as well. But if you don't really have a quarterback, man, that can really get that offense going, then you're not gonna really have no offense.
So take me to Urban Meyer, because I mean I know Urban as a coach because he was my primary recruiter at Notre Dame. He was a wide receiver coach at Notre Dame when I was getting recruited. Okay. So I know him in that fashion. But how was he as a head coach during your time?
Real enthusiasm, man. Real enthusiasm coach. A coach that I'll run through a wall for Urban, man. He gets a lot of knock for what he did in the off the field, but as far as a coach, man, his demeanor, he was a guy that you wanted to play for. Mm-hmm. He lived by, if you did things right, if you live right, I'm gonna take care of you. And I was doing right, doing what I need to do, and he took really good care of me when I was in school. So Urban, like I said, I love him to death, man. He's definitely a coach that I play for.
And had played for him, and then you saw the Swamp Kings come out, right?
Yeah.
What was your impression of Swamp Kings? Because I asked Jaquez Green the same thing, and Quez like, man, it was, they ain't really get to the guts of it. Quez wasn't really impressed.
You know what, man? It's a lot that goes back with that. They asked me to be on that show. They wanted to interview me for that because, like I said, I was there Urban's first year, but I didn't do it. I really didn't have a story to tell, and I kind of felt like I still to this day I still hadn't even watched Swamp King. I hadn't seen it at all.
Okay.
And hearing different opinions about it, I kind of feel like that people were kind of like bad talking Urban. They kind of felt like he was a dirty guy, he was a dirty cat, and the way he coached, I kind of they were trying to make it like he was a bad guy.
But most people haven't been in that competitive environment to understand what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
So I would tell you to watch Swamp King.
Okay.
I enjoyed it from a fan standpoint.
Okay.
Because I'm a Gator fan, but then I also know Urban personally. And then matter of fact, not a lot of stuff. Everything that was happening on that film, we were doing it in Notre Dame. We were already doing it. Mickey Marotti was our strength coach. Yeah. All that. Mick was a strength coach.
Mick Marotti, yes, sir.
The GOAT, baby.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. So all that stuff, all the mat drills and throwing weights in the weight room, making guys throw up, sitting on the leg press, kicking guys, man, we did it already.
Yeah.
So I'm watching it like you. I want to just see if anything was different. But I guess where I'm going is that with all the talent and the attitude that the Gators had back then, how did Urban string it all together? And that's where the magic came in, and him being such a good head coach and a good manager, is how he got all those personalities to mesh together.
Crazy thing about that, man, is you said y'all did that type of conditioning, but people they don't see the background of football. They just see when we at the game day, and that's all they see. They know we work out in the off season. They know, we live for run, but they don't know that we do that type of stuff like that, man. That's type of stuff been going on maybe before us.
Yep.
And we just got called out about it, or recognized about it because we're University of Florida. It's a big school. Not saying Notre Dame wasn't a big school, but I guess y'all weren't really getting the recognition like Florida was.
Mm-hmm.
And then when everybody saw that was just like, how could you people were like, how could you put your kids through that? And it was a part of. I took it as a part of it was all new to me because I never did that type of working out, exercising either, man. But I felt it was a part of becoming a man.
Mm-hmm.
How far can you push yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and are you gonna be there for your teammate? When the stuff hit the fan.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a meeting one day when Urban first got there, man. He put his foot down and kind of cleaned house with everything. He cleaned up a whole bunch of shit. We had a meeting in the summer. A guy got in trouble. He got in trouble for failing the drug test.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody found out about it. It was in the paper, yada, yada, yada. I don't want to say his name, but he was a running back. And as soon as we found out, maybe he sent a mass text out to everybody, said, hey, we got a meeting. I think it was maybe sometime like 7 or 8 o'clock that night. And he called out the running back. And, the running back stood up. He said, hey, I made a mistake. I apologize to my team and, this and this and that. And then Urban just went off. He wasn't really going off on him personally, but he went off on like the team. Like, hey, this is not what we're doing. This is not what we're here for. I understand you guys have a life outside of football, but right now football is your life. And he went through maybe 10 to 15 of the main guys, asking them questions. Hey, what do we need to do to come together as a team? How do you feel about this team? Do we need to change some things? Of course, we need to change some things, but what do we need to change? And then he kind of sat there and talked to us man to man, and even though we didn't have a great season that year, but we did pretty decent, man. I wish we could have. It's so much opportunity that we had, man, and we just blew it. But in all, man, I enjoyed it. Like I said, Urban was a great coach to me, a great person to me. I never forget what he did for what he did for me.
9-3 that season. You got off to the tune, like I said, of 900 yards.
Yeah.
All right, take me through the process of now I got agents getting in contact with me. I've got my NFL evaluation that's come back. I got a pretty high grade. Take me through the process of the decision making of now I think I want to declare for the draft. And long story short, you remember us talking to Ebor. Remember me, you, your agent, your dad came in town, my dad, and we went to Ebor, and this is where you was like, all right, I don't know. I was like, cuz, just, bro, you just went for 900. Urban gonna turn y'all into a national champ. Just chill for one more season. You'll be a first round pick. I told you to chill.
I think about that shit I think about it all the time, bro. I swear to God, I think about it all the time, bro. If I would have stayed my black ass at Florida, man, my career would have been totally different for what it ended up being. But yeah, I remember that day, man. I remember you say that. And another thing about that too is after that, we played Iowa in the bowl game.
Yep.
At the end of my junior year. We ended up winning. And Coach Billy Gonzalez, coach, hey, if you watch this, man, if you never need anything, you let me know if I can do anything. But I love that man to death too, man. He said, he looked me face to face. He told me, he said, son, don't go anywhere. I want you to stay one more year and we're going to do this thing. And I heard him loud and clear, but in the back of my mind, all I was thinking about was, and you know the old saying, being young, dumb, and full of you know what.
Yep.
And that's all I was thinking about. Cause I was like, how I can help my family, man. I can do this. I definitely take care of them. And I feel like in the bottom of my heart, deep in my heart, man, I made the wrong decision. I should have stayed at Florida. And like I said, my career would have been so much, different than what the outcome it is now. But man, I remember that night like it was yesterday, bro. I swear to God, you told me, you said, cuz just stay
chill.
one more year. Oh man,
chill, dog. You just got off. You got off. You the man. You just got off. They gonna win a title, dog. You but
yeah.
But let me all right. So
Go ahead.
did say something that caught my you said my career could have been a lot different. Why?
Yeah.
Why do you think your career could have been different? Because you were still a second round pick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That ain't nothing, that ain't too shabby. So why do you think your career could have been different?
I think the mental part of it, the knowledge of it, how to go about it. Because I
Okay.
went about it as a little kid instead of going about it
Okay.
as a grown man, you know.
Okay.
So I think that was a big part of it too, a real big part
I
of
think
it.
that's respectable too. I mean, a lot of people who are going to hear this, I think they can respect that, because a lot of these young men, and you were one of them, they get into these situations, and it's hard to say no to that, man.
It's
It's
hard to say
hard
no.
it's
It's
hard to say
hard to
no
say
to
no.
that, man.
It's hard to
When
say
you
no.
got that cash sitting in front of you, you felt like you did the work that needed to be done. You got this opportunity.
Yeah.
You don't know if it's ever gonna come again. You don't even know if you're gonna make it if you stay, if you're gonna
Right.
make it past that following season. And you got
Yeah.
it sitting right here in front of you. It's hard to say, nah, I'm gonna
It's
push it
hard
to
to
the
say
edge of
no.
the table.
It's hard to
It's
say no.
hard, man. And a lot of people aren't gonna understand that. And shoot,
Mhm.
even with me and all the ball I played and the level I played at,
Yeah.
I had the faith. I obviously I couldn't see it. I had the faith that, number one, you could win a title,
Yeah.
and then you could be in the same position, if not better, that following year. And that's, that's coming from love and blood and all,
Mhm.
and a little bit of fandom, because you're a Gator and I'm a
Yeah.
Gator. But it's hard to say no. And anybody in that situation, because most of America will never be in that situation where
Yeah.
you got millions just kind of right there at your doorstep, and you got to
Mhm.
say no to it.
Yeah. You got to say no, bro. It's like I said. I mean, I think about that decision all the time, man. It sits in the back of my mind. It's gonna live with me to the day that I die. You know, why rushing, man. The kids, if you listen to this, man, don't rush into life, man. Just patiently wait it out and see what's gonna happen. But like I said, I took a chance, and you never know what's gonna happen if you don't take a chance. It's like you're trying to holler at that little cutie that you like. You know,
Yep.
she may say no, but hell, if you don't take a chance at it, you never know what's gonna happen. Instead of sitting back and oh man, I wish I would have made that decision. But yeah, that decision, that's one of the decisions in my life that I definitely regret. I should have stayed my ass at Florida. There you
Well, you jump into your NFL career
go.
to a franchise now that is the premier franchise at the time, with
Mm-hmm.
Belichick, Brady doing their thing.
Yeah.
I think I wrote the numbers down. I think you went in 2006. In 2006, I believe the Patriots were in. Where does that note at? I think the Patriots were 12-4 that season. I
Uh-huh.
think y'all went 12-4 your rookie season, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
What take me down a rookie road, man. What was the best part and the worst part about being a rookie?
I think the best part about being a rookie uh, was kind of just, getting drafted, you know, having your dreams happen and getting drafted. I was probably saying and the worst part about it, man, is just going through that rookie tough times, man. Just like I was one of my freshman year in Florida, I was like, man, do I really belong here? I'm kind of not liking it here. When I got in the wing, I was kind of the same way. Do I really belong here? I really don't feel like I'm welcome. But it is what it is. You kind of have to, you got to earn your respect. And I understood that, and I understood it was kind of hard for me to earn my respect, man. I went through a tough road. Like I said, my rookie year, man, I played a little bit, but I ended up pulling a hamstring, so it kind of slowed me down, and just kind of went down here from there, cuz.
One thing I like to ask guys coming out of colleges: the difference in the practice tempo from being in a high level D1 program like Florida, and then going to not even premier, but going to an NFL team. What's the practice difference? The practice tempo and structure.
I think it's competitive, but I think it's a little bit more made back because these guys are worth money now. So the
Okay.
coaches, they're gonna take care of the guys. Hey, we need you here out here on Sundays. We need you to get to work in, we need you to get to practice in, but hey, we need you out here winning these games on Sunday. And like I said, it was competitive, but it was kind of more a little more laid back, man. A lot shorter. I tell you that, a lot shorter than college practices. But you're gonna get that work in though.
Tom Brady. If you had to wrap Tom Brady up in one word, what would you say? Hey,
One
let the
word.
people know.
um, I don't know, man. I really don't know. He's because some people saw him this way, some people saw him that way. Some people know him as the greatest quarterback to ever live. But playing with him and being around somebody is I'm not a judgmental person, and I like I said I really don't know how to put him into one word, bro. But just I mean one of the greatest, of course, sure. But at times he could be an asshole. And
Yep.
like I said, some people knew it, and some people, didn't want to say that. Hell, I wasn't gonna say shit. Hell, what the hell I look like? Talking about, be like, hey, Tom, hey, you overthrew that damn ball, nigga. You overthrew that ball, Tom. Shit. You know what I'm saying? Shit. Hey, Tom, hey, you saw that linebacker sitting right there. You think I'm gonna catch that? You damn slick. Come on, Tom. I know you're trying to squeeze it in there, baby, but goddamn, you know. But but what can you do, cuz? What can you do, man? So it is what it is,
All
man. But
right.
much respect to Tom Brady, man. Like I said, you can't talk bad about that guy, man. What he's accomplished, and what his career turned out to, man. But yeah, we had some funny moments back in the day, man. Some real funny moments.
So rookie struggles as expected, but
Yeah,
your sophomore campaign,
yeah,
Randy Moss comes in.
yeah.
Randy comes in.
Mm-hmm.
What's like the first thing that you took for Randy? Like his work ethic, his
Yeah.
mentality. What's the first thing you took for Randy?
I'm like, how in the hell out here is not covering Randy Moss? Because the routes that he ran, bro, it's just like, you can cover that? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I mean, I'm not saying he ran no bad routes, but he was just
Say it.
he
Say
was
it. You can say it.
he was fast. He was fast, bro. He was fast, but he wouldn't give you that
Uh-huh.
He wouldn't give you that He was more like the old traditional route runner, but he got his ass open, and I'm sitting here looking at it at practice. I'm like, oh my god, bro. We played when he first got there, bro. We played the Jets. I think it was the opening the opening game. This man ran a deep post. I mean, he just and the real Reeves. He just bro. He ran past the real Reeves. He caught that big one hand. Bro. I ain't never seen nobody catch no post with one hand like this and go in for the tutty. And go in for the tutty. This I was like, because you saw when he was at Minnesota, but I just saw like highlights. You see the highlights.
Right.
When you actually out there playing with this dude, and you just like, okay. I mean, he the truth, bro. Because I just don't understand how these guys, how he just doing these guys like that, and it's amazing to see. And he's a hard worker too, bro. He's one of the most but he's one of the funniest guys you ever meet too, bro. I
He
swear to God,
seemed like it. He seemed like
he's
it.
so funny. He is so funny, bro. Bro, you run past somebody and you catch a post. You know how hard it is to catch a post, a deep post,
Yes, sir.
with
Yes,
two
sir.
hands, bro, and you running, and he just catch this post like.
Now, listen, on the DB side, nothing about Randy Moss ever made me think that he was a great route runner. Nothing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And now
Yes.
you confirm it. You confirm it that he probably wasn't no great route runner.
I mean, he'll probably tell you to this day. He said, I wasn't no guy. I was just athletic, and I just knew how to read guys. He knew how to read. He knew how to read coverages. He knew how to read hips, hands, and he just knew how to do that shit. And I'm just sitting here like, how the? All right, well, all right, Mo, go ahead, bro. Because he got off that year. Here, I think we end up going undefeated that year.
Yep.
And we ended up losing to the Giants that year, the Super Bowl. But I think, and then we had like one of the most prolific offenses that year.
Yep.
And I was coming off the ACL tour, man, so I was kind of just in the background, bro, really, because they brought in Wes Welker, Moss was there, and then they had bringing Stallworth. I think we had one of our receivers get hurt. Troy Brown was still there, but he was kind of going to the end of his career.
Okay.
And like I said, when they brought Dante Starworth in there, man, I just kind of got set to the back, bro. But we had a good time. We had a good run.
So you all right? Let me back up. Now that's your sophomore campaign, and now you're going into the third season, but you don't make it with the Patriots, right?
Yeah.
You go to the Broncos.
Yeah.
How is that? What is the conversation like? Who tells you just got traded or you're not going to be re-signed? How does that conversation go?
They told me, hey, I got cut. Yeah, when they make the final cuts, they let you know that I can't remember if I got a letter or they brought me into the office or whatever. I can't
Okay.
The GM office. They tell you, hey, we're gonna let you go. Yada yada yada. When we trade, we tried to trade. Okay, this is what they told me. They said, we're gonna release you. We tried to trade you. They tried to trade me to the Rams, and two other teams, but they didn't. And they were going to make the deal, but they couldn't get nothing back for me that they wanted. So they just ended up releasing me. When I got to Denver, it was like everywhere I went, bro. When I got released, like everywhere I went, they already had a stacked squad. Where I was going. Like so, when I got to Denver, B. Marshall was there, Brandon Marshall, Stokely, the little white slot receiver.
Brandon Stokely was his name, I think.
Brandon Stokely, yeah, Brandon Stokely.
Yep.
And then who was the other little slot receiver from Virginia Tech? Little fast little dude, Eddie Royal.
Okay.
So they already had kind of their little squad there, man. And I played a little bit. I had a couple, and D Jack was there too, bro. D Jackson, he was there.
Daryl Jackson.
Yeah, he was there.
Okay.
So they kind of had their little squad already, man. So I was kind of doing to another situation where I kind of worked my way up, man. And excuse me, and I kind of had my own little packages and other than that, but kind of again, man, I was just kind of in the background again,
Now you did get to play with another Hall of Famer or soon to be Hall of Famer, and Champ Bailey.
Yeah.
Now, talk to me about him as a player. You got to play with Tom. You got to play with Randy, Hall of Famers in their own right. Now you get to play with arguably one of the top 10 corners ever in Champ Bailey.
Yeah.
What was he like?
He was long, bro. He get them hands on you, it's over with. It's over with. And Champ, he playing man, but his man was it was different. But he kind of when I saw him at practice, when I saw him play, his man coverage was kind of a little different from other guys' man coverage. Man, he kind of played. Most guys, when they play you man, they play you in the middle. He kind of favored one side, and like I said, once he get them hands on you, I mean, it's over with, bro. It's over with. He gonna jam you up, and then he was fast too. He was like I said, he was long, he was fast too, so he could keep up with you. It didn't matter kind of if he had with a double move or what, bro. He had that catch up ability where if he did get beat or burnt or something like that, he had the ability to get back on top of it.
Well, I'm proud of you, man. I think also that I had to come to grips at the end of my career. It was like, yo, the NFL just wasn't going to be my path.
Yeah.
I was a really good high school player, a lot of attention, a solid college player, good attention. Didn't get any NFL attention. And then that kind of depression state kind of hits in like, yo, I ain't gonna be able to play ball no more. And then you got to kind of figure out what's next in that stage of life.
Yeah.
But I think that it set me up for where I am today and my impact on the whatever impact I have had in the path that I'm down. Number one, it gave me my family. Right. So it gave me my wife of 18 years. It gave me two beautiful children. And then now it allows me to impact kids in a different segment. But I just missed out on the NFL. Right. So when you said, hey, my career could have been different, it might have landed you right where you needed to be. Right. Yeah. Hey, you made a decision. You took that risk. You jumped off the ledge. You got to do something that you wanted to do. And now you're in a path that possibly you're supposed to be in. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm extremely extremely proud, a lot of pride that we share the last name and the same blood that come through us.
Yes, sir.
And you got your beautiful family now. So,
Yeah.
and at the same time, when we start talking Florida football, hey, little cuz is so and so. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna let y'all know up front. So y'all, you know the name. You remember
I appreciate you, cuz. I appreciate you, bro. I didn't even know I still had that record, but that's crazy, man. You know,
Yeah.
hey, Florida, man. Hey, send a nigga a plaque or a certificate or something. Can I get some, baby? A signed football or something?
Okay, question. How when you go back to campus, how do they receive you? Because obviously we've talked several times. I'll call you at a game and this, that, and the other. How do they embrace you and wrap your arms around you when you head back to Gainesville?
It's crazy, man. As much success I had at Hoover in high school, man, they don't really show me no love. But when I go to Florida and I go back to the games, man, I get so much love, man. And people recognize me, want to take pictures, want to sign stuff, and show me a lot of love, man. Show me a lot of love. So definitely thank Florida for that. Definitely thank you for that.
Well, before we close out, is there anything you want to promote that you're into, things you got coming up, people should pay attention to? Just your time to shine, baby.
No, not really, man. I'm just, retired NFL player, man, just transitioning from, life to life. I'm a dad now, so, things change, man. I got a little girl, so I got to get in that dad mode, man. I gotta be there for her. Just work, man. I transitioned to healthcare, so I work in healthcare now. I work in surgery. I don't know, a lot of people know what a PA is, but I'm going to PA school, man. It's a physician's assistant. So that's big time for me because I kind of really didn't know what I was going to do after football. I like you, I went into that depression mode, and they kind of realized, hey, it's over with. You got to do something else. So healthcare is something that I really never thought that I'd be involved in, but I enjoy it. I love it, man. I meet a lot of doctors and make a lot of relationships. So, man. So, but that's about it, man. If anybody wanted to reach out, Facebook Chad Wolfgang, Instagram Chad of Cheese, 3 Z's with the cheese and a Z. But yeah, I appreciate you having me on, cuz, man. Like I said, much love, but like I said, I might be working down there soon, but I keep you posted. It's gonna be around like June, something like that. But we definitely going to a couple of Florida games next year, cuz. So if you want to come up, let me know. I got you. I think I'm going to the Texas game for sure. I think the LSU game and maybe one more, but I'm going to the Texas game for sure. I think that's in like November, but yeah, we'll work something out, bro. We'll definitely have to link up, cuz, for sure.
For Gator Nation, BCP Nation, we out.
Hey.